hope you have understood the Himalayan rivers and their river systems. Now, let us have a look at the peninsular rivers.
The Western Ghats act as the divide between the major peninsular rivers and they discharge their water into the Bay of Bengal, besides merging with Arabian Sea as small rivulets. Except Narmada and Tapti, most of the peninsular rivers flow from west to east. Chambal, Betwa and Son, which originate in the northern region of the peninsular region, constitute the Ganga river system. Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna and Kaveri are the major river systems of the peninsular region.
When it comes to the peninsular region, they are characterized by a fixed course, non-perennial flow and no meanders.
River Godavari, with its origins in Triambak Plateau near Nasik in Maharashtra, is the largest peninsular river system. It flows into the Bay of Bengal.
Students, now that we have understood the originating points of the various river systems, let us see the various other dimensions of water, starting with the use of water. Students, as we all know, water is a resource which is available to us as an annual flow. In other words, we can calculate how much water we would be able to use in a year. This can be done through a water cycle, and we calculate the inflows and outflows in a year. We can calculate the outflows and inflows at various levels. That is, it may be for watersheds or for the entire river basins. Now, let us try the idea of a water budget. Water budget. Isn't it surprising? Students, let us now see how we can calculate inflows and outflows.
Inflow of an area is equal to the sum of precipitation, surface flow and groundwater flow. The average over many years is taken for precipitation as it changes from year to year. The surface flow includes canals, rivers, streams and other flows on the surface of water. However, although flow of groundwater is difficult to calculate, it can be done.
Students, how do you think a village or a town receives water?
Take the case of a village. It receives water through canals, pipelines and so on. In addition, the rainfall also adds to the total inflow for the village.
But it may be difficult to calculate about the groundwater. But the slope of the land can be helpful in getting to know the direction of the flow of water. Now that we have seen about inflows, let us learn about outflows.
Students, as you all know, evaporation is the process where the water converts into vapor. This is a natural process in the various water bodies like lakes, rivers, seas, etc.
In addition, the living things release water into the atmosphere through the process of breathing, which is known as transpiration. Then, what do you think evapotranspiration is?
Evapotranspiration is the total amount of water that is added to the atmosphere by evaporation and transpiration.
Students, let us imagine there is a village. Through the streams in the village, some water flows out of the village as surface flows. These flows increase during the monsoon with the onset of rains.
During this season, rainfall sinks into the soil and reaches the strata in the underground and recharges the aquifers. While some of the water comes out through wells and bore wells, some water goes deeper into the aquifers and is not available.
Also, some part of the underground water forms part of the flows in the rivers or streams. Students, we all know the prominence of water in agriculture.
As we have seen, water reaches the root zone of the crops either by rainfall or through irrigation. Moreover, the soil also has the capacity to retain moisture. In case of excess water, in times of flood, the inability to sink in may cause damage to the roots. On the contrary, lack of moisture in the root zone would also damage the crops in drought situations. In addition to utilization of water for agriculture, there are vital needs like drinking, cooking, washing, cleaning, and for animals as well.
Students, there is a high need of planning to increase the availability of water to the individuals so that a minimum is available to all. Students, in addition to domestic and agricultural purposes, water is used widely for industrial purposes. In fact, the water for industrial use always is at par with the use of water for domestic and agricultural purposes. It becomes highly essential to take the needs into account as there is a huge conflict for the utilization of water.
Recycling of water and control of pollution are two challenging aspects with regard to water for industries.
Students, how much water is available to a village or a region highly depends on the inflows as well as the readily available stock that is used. The flow and stock are two important aspects to be kept in mind for analysis. For example, suppose a tank is constantly being filled by water through an inlet pipe. While the inflow is measured as the amount of liters of water per minute, the outflow is measured as the amount of liters of water per minute that flows out. Although these two parameters may keep varying, the water can be measured in liters, which helps us in knowing the stock of water at a particular time.
Tanks, ponds, lakes are some of the surface storages of water which may be found in villages. In addition, wells and tube wells are some of the important sources of water in most of the Indian villages.
As we have seen earlier, the wells and tube wells are dependent on the groundwater, which in turn means the inflows and storage are connected. Moreover, while some part of the water is used, some part of it goes deep into the ground and recharges the storage, just like in the water tank example.
The tube wells also get their water from the storages, as a result of which the water levels decrease. The water that is available for our use is the annual flows and the stocks of water that recharge the wells and tube wells. The digging of water in the deeper aquifers is the water that has been collected over the thousands of years.
Therefore, such practices should be taken up only in the conditions of extreme drought and should be recharged during rainfall years. The inflows and outflows help us in understanding the status of stock of water. Moreover, we can see in the recent days the increasing depletion of groundwater, which poses serious threats for the future.